Hi, everybody. I'm the Strategy Professor, and I'm just giving you a really quick update here about Warhammer on the channel. I don't have a ton of time. It's super early in the morning. It's almost 6:30, and I have to finish doing some lesson planning and then head off and do my teaching for the day. But I just want to let you know that I am going to release some content for the new DLC. I'm going to be doing Wulfhart to start with, and then I'll see what y'all want me to do next. But the episodes probably won't come out until maybe this evening and more probably like Friday in the morning. I'm pretty much on campus all day I get up around 6:30 most days and I have to prepare, head off to an 8 a.m. class in a different town over, and then I teach, get home around 4 p.m. and I've only had like 3 hours of sleep, and that usually happens on Mondays and the time between like Wednesdays and Thursdays, and the time between Mondays and Tuesday, the night before then, when I usually have 3 hours of sleep. I did practice it a lot on Wednesday, and that's one thing that I just wanted to point out here is that I do not have early access to any of this content. Is I just don't have that from CA yet. So I might do it with future DLC. I might apply and see if I can get some early access, but because I'm still like a fairly smaller time streamer, then I don't have early access to it. So be sure to like and subscribe. That does help out a lot with me making the case to get early access to this stuff. But also what that means is that I kind of have to learn it on my own. I have to get the stats. I have to practice different builds because I'm not able to do that myself. So that takes a little bit of time. And then also, as far as I could see, I'm one of the only people that's doing it on Legendary that's a major content creator. And there's a couple of things that are really important for that. First of all, it's harder. That's the most obvious one. And especially in the vanilla game without Steel Faith, it's a lot harder. The units cost a lot more gold. Public Order is a much bigger deal, and the enemy gets like a lot of bonus stats for that. But the other thing that a lot of people forget that also makes it really hard on Legendary, especially as a content creator, is that you can't go back to previous saves. So and this is a major reason other content creators won't tell you this, probably, but this creates some big time problems when you're trying to create content, especially when you're on a deadline and you want that content out like immediately as soon as the game drops, because obviously that's when it's going to get the most attention, that's when it's most relevant, that's when it's going to get the most views, right? But if you're playing on Legendary and you ever screw up, you just lost everything. Because there are no takesies, backsies. You cannot redo. You cannot go to a previous save. And even if you're playing the game on very hard, you can still go back to a previous save, which is convenient if you're a normal player. But if you're a content creator, that means that you're pretty much guaranteed not to have wasted your time, in a sense, in the previous episodes. But for someone like me, when you're learning something that's a new and fairly complicated campaign like Wulfhart, a lot of it's going to be trial and error, because sometimes you just don't quite know exactly what's going to be coming down the bend, and you're just not quite sure of power levels. And especially the way that I like to play, where I don't really exploit stuff and I try to take on challenges. I don't like for things to be easy. You're going to get into trouble sometimes. So that's just what happened to me. I spent about 4 hours yesterday just sort of trying out some basic stuff, trying out the first battle, and then running through the first probably 30 turns or so on Wulfhart, and just kind of getting a sense for the opening strategies that I would like, and what I think would work and what wouldn't work, and things like that. And I thought I had a pretty good game plan down. Well, then when I started recording it for real, after those 4 hours or so, I was doing all right for the most part, but a couple events changed because, the game's a little different every time. I had to face an extra army that I wasn't thinking of. Another time, there were some wizardmen before I had faced them separately, and I ended up having to face them together because they were reinforcing each other. I wasn't able to pick them off. And there was a key garrison, and this was a big one that had an extra core unit in it, Bastillodon, and I had to fight them in their town, whereas previously I was able to pull the garrison out of the town first. They had a lord sitting outside the town. I attacked the lord. It forced the garrison to reinforce. So then the garrison was basically dead, and I didn't have to siege. That's what had happened in my practice run. The 20 to 30 turns I mentioned. When I started doing it for real, there were those changes, and the big one was the garrison. Is I had not fought a walled battle before against this particular lizardman setup with Croxagores and a Bastillodon and things like that, and it was way harder than I expected it to be. My archers were much less effective, and even though I had cracked walls, they were still able to maneuver around and activate the towers on those walls. So anyways, I ended up taking a huge hit, losing the battle, losing my whole army. Then I had to rebuild, and so on and so forth. And it just kind of snowballed, and then I ended up being in a position where I didn't think I was going to win the campaign. And that was like probably 5 episodes or something deep when I decided to call it quits on that. And so I have to restart the whole thing over again, restart the recording. And it's good. I learned some stuff. I've got some really good information for you. But my main thing that I'm trying to get across here is that takes time because I'm doing it on Legendary and I don't have pre-access. I just have to learn this stuff, by going in. It's basically a new faction in Total War Warhammer 2. Yes, it's Empire, but you don't have access to a lot of the key units like great swords and things like that early on. At least not in like large quantities early on that you would have. And like facing the Lizardmen is just something that you never do in the other campaigns. So just trying to like recalibrate and get a sense for like the matchups and what you need to do. And I've also been playing with Steel Faith a lot, which in many ways is more challenging, but it's also just kind of different in the sense that like the unit stats are all different. The matchups are a little bit different depending on the units and things like that. And so just having to recalibrate my brain. So anyways, I did spend, about 9 hours yesterday trying to get you some good content that I could release for today. But I just didn't think it was going to be good enough. I was taking some risks, trying not to, do something super safe. I wanted to do something fun for you. And I just got punished for it. And when you play on Legendary and you get punished, then you lose lots and lots of hours of content. And so it can delay the release of episodes. That's why I almost always will pre-record like 8 to 10 episodes on a campaign before I release any of them. Because I don't want to release, a campaign when I only have like the first episode. Because if I lose on the first episode or the second episode or whatever, which is rare, but it does happen when I'm trying out new campaigns, then that just kind of sucks. It feels weird, right? Like you're watching a couple episodes, you're like, okay, this is getting good. I'm going to tune in and watch this. And then all of a sudden it's done, Like it's kind of interesting that I can lose, and people might find some drama in that's cool, but it's also like kind of annoying, if I lose, because people were just getting settled in. They don't want to rewatch me start the campaign all over again, and rewatch the first bit of it all over again. At least a lot of people don't. I'm sure there will be some people that would like that, but I'm telling you right now, most people would not like that, and it would be perceived negatively by a lot of people. So, anyways, I'm going to redo it. I'm going to try to redo it when I get home today, but typically I'll also try to get some sleep in between like 4 and 9 when I have to stream, because I only get 3 hours at night. So that's why I'm saying it might be Friday. But we'll see. I'll do the best that I can to get the content out as soon as possible for you. But I just wanted to give you that breakdown, because that's something that I don't think a lot of people really think about a lot, unless you're a content creator who doesn't have early access and you play on Legendary, which is not a lot of people. So just throwing that out there. So I am still going to, I still need to do a Wood Elf campaign that's in the works. I got a Dwarf campaign that's in the works eventually. I would like to revisit Norska. And yeah, I still have some Skaven episodes I'm going to release, and I still have some Mazda Mundi episodes that I still need to release. And I'll probably start re-releasing those tomorrow. I do have about 8 episodes on those stored up, because I didn't know the DLC was coming. So I had all these Mazda Mundi campaign episodes stored up. I had all these Skaven campaigns stored up. So I'm still going to release those. So hopefully you'll watch them. Hopefully you'll find them interesting. But just for the sake of I've already got it and I can throw it in the playlist for future people to watch, I'll go ahead and release them. As far as the other stuff, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the new Lizardmen. Was it Nakai? I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but the Horde Lizardmen. If people want to see that, I can do that as well, potentially. I wouldn't mind doing another Empire release, because they redid so many things for the traditional Empire on Mortal Empires. I think that would be pretty cool. Just let me know what you think. Would it be too much Empire, to do this one right now with Wulfhart and then go back and try to do another Empire? So we might just wait to redo the next Empire. We'll do this with Wulfhart, and then we'll go back, we'll do something else. And then maybe in, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 campaigns in the future, we could take a look back at Empire and see what we think of it in the old world. Just a suggestion, but let me know what you think. Hopefully, stay tuned for that Wulfhart campaign. It should be coming out soon. Just once again, I'm going to need another probably 6 to 8 hours to, pre-record some episodes, make sure that I'm in a good spot. I've definitely learned some stuff from it. I think I'm going to have some really good strategies for you to help you enjoy the game and appreciate it on Legendary. But yeah, it's just going to take another day or so. But I just wanted to keep you up to date. I am going to do it. I am working on it. I just, as a person that teaches at 2 different universities and, has other responsibilities on the channel, the streaming and things like that, married man, gotta mow the yard, gotta hang out with the daughter and the wife and stuff. Sometimes this takes a little bit of time, especially for these more challenging campaigns. But anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.